Ready. Again.
Let me get my music.
Mhm.
Hi, my name is Emma.
And my name is Andrea, and today we're talking about how certain major companies use culture in order to foster their business ventures.
We hear the word culture thrown around a lot. So to start, we wanted to offer a few definitions of the word culture. For example, just the other day, Andre and I watched a video where a TED Talk was presented from Pellegrino Riccardi, and he offered a definition of culture as practices which are accepted and familiar to a group of people. When we think about culture in terms of business practices or business culture, we can think about it in this way. A culture of a business is just an agreed upon set of accepted and familiar practices that we put in place in order to create the best company culture possible, in order to facilitate or foster different business ventures.
So now it is time to look at specific examples of companies that have used culture to foster their business ventures. There are some pros and cons to each strategy, and we also found some similarities and differences between the different cultures and companies during our investigation. So I'm going to talk about the pros of McDonald's global strategy. So it is characterized by its commitment to standardization, ensuring that processes and products maintain consistency and quality across its numerous locations worldwide. This approach not only upholds the brand's reputation for reliability, but also facilitates efficient operations on a large scale. Moreover, McDonald's utilizes a franchising model, which not only accelerates its expansion, but also fosters local ownership, enabling entrepreneurs to invest in their communities and create job opportunities. Additionally, McDonald's actively engages in community initiatives and philanthropy, channeling resources towards social development and contributing to the economic growth of the areas it operates in. By investing in these initiatives, McDonald's not only strengthens its ties with local communities, but also demonstrates a commitment to corporate social responsibility and sustainable business practices.
So next, we're going to move on to some cons to the global strategy that McDonald's has in place. And Andre already talked a bit about standardization, which is just a way in which companies ensure consistent quality in products for organization. Like think of standards like the standards that a business wants to uphold in order to run their business a certain way. This runs the risk of hindering diversity by upholding like too harsh or restrictive standards that don't allow for creativity from different diverse backgrounds. So that's like one concern. And next, there are some ethical implications when it comes to McDonald's and their global marketing strategies because of the health impact that their food has on people. It's not health food. And there's a big problem, especially in the United States, with obesity. And so some people have argued that this company or companies of this caliber should be doing more to promote health. And even more than that, there are also environmental impacts of McDonald's business practices as well, such as deforestation from the beef production and plastic waste from the packaging. But more and more is being done each day to promote environmentally conscious choices. McDonald's actually has a page on their website titled Our Planet that you can go on and see what the company is doing to protect the environment. It's pretty interesting, but it's also really important to see the other side and see that obviously they're going to be saying that they're doing what's best for the environment, but it's really important to consider the implications of what they've already done that has caused harm. And now
Perfect.
Andrea is going to talk about some pros to the IKEA and Asian business model.
Thank you, Emma. So, IKEA's success in Asia hinges on its ability to cater to the needs and preferences of budget-conscious consumers while maintaining a focus on sustainability. By offering affordable pricing and functional designs, IKEA taps into the demands of emerging markets, making stylish home furnishing accessible to a broader demographic. Moreover, IKEA's commitment to sustainability and renewable resources strikes a chord with the environmentally conscious consumers, aligning with growing concerns about environmental conservation. Through localized products offerings and store experiences, IKEA enhances customer engagement and foster brand loyalty by creating tailored experiences that resonate with diverse cultural backgrounds. This approach not only strengthens IKEA's presence in the market, but also reinforces its reputation as a socially responsible and customer-centric brand. Now let's go with the cons.
Yes. So moving on to the cons, I read an interview with, I think it was the CEO of IKEA, but he might have just been someone high up in the company. And he was talking about the challenges that come in place with breaking into a global market or breaking into any new market. And he was specifically talking about breaking into India and one other place in Central Asia. But he was talking about how it was difficult to understand the market dynamics in another place like this and like, also the culture. And so he was saying that they really had to go in and do a lot of like data gaining and they wanted to see like what life to like day-to-day life was in these different places so that they could best like market to their consumers. But what I could tell from my research is that IKEA was one of the companies that like had to change the most in order to successfully thrive globally, especially in Asia, because IKEA's environmental impact is more prevalent because their manufacturing process is not as current as other companies or other competitors, especially in Asia. So they struggled to, I guess, keep up with the high quality and low cost production that China was already kind of feeding out. So they had to meet their competitors. And now we're going to move on to talk about Disney a little bit more.
Thank you. So Disney's global presence is built on its timeless characters and captivating storytelling, which transcend cultural boundaries and resonate with audiences of all ages and backgrounds. Through its iconic films and characters, Disney fosters cross-cultural communication and understanding, bringing people together through shared experiences. Furthermore, Disney's theme parks and entertainment offerings serve as economic engines, creating jobs and driving tourism in the regions where they operate. This not only contributes to local economic growth and development, but also provides opportunities for individuals to thrive in the entertainment industry. Additionally, Disney's commitment to diversity and inclusion extends beyond its content to its workforce, promoting social equity and representation both on screen and behind the scenes. You go, Emma.
It's true that Disney has definitely committed to diversity on screen and they've really focused on inclusion, especially in these last few years. But it's also important to look specifically at Disney in China. And something really interesting when it comes to Disney in China is that Andrea was talking about local economic growth and development, which is so true. These big companies often do lead to a boom in economic growth for the region. However, um, in China, when Disney was there to open their theme park, China forced over 150 factories to close, all of which employed like 10 to 20 employees. They were mostly smaller factories, but when you add it up like that, like that's almost 3,000 people left without jobs. And they closed these factories in order to produce less pollution so that Disney could have its park, which is going to produce a lot of pollution. So it just seems a little bit counterintuitive to say that you have all of these values as a company and you uphold all of these morals. And then when you see the flip side of the coin, you're like, okay, well, what about this situation? And what about the way in which Disney's faulted with contributing to the homogenization that promotes Western narratives and values in a way that feels forced. And I know they're working away from this stereotype, but in China, this is just what I found. And now we're actually going to move on to talk about the pros of the Airbnb global expansion and what that company looks like.
Totally. So Airbnb's platform serves as a catalyst for cultural exchange and understanding by facilitating connections between travelers and local hosts, offering immersive experiences that go beyond traditional tourism. By staying with local hosts, travelers gain insight into the culture and lifestyle of their destination, fostering cross-cultural appreciation and dialogue. Simultaneously, Airbnb empowers hosts to monetize their properties, supporting entrepreneurship and economic development within their communities. This economic empowerment not only benefits individual hosts, but also contributes to the overall growth and vitality of local economies. Moreover, Airbnb's platform provides affordable and unique accommodation options, expanding travel opportunities for budget conscious consumers who may otherwise be limited by traditional lodging options. By democratizing travel and promoting inclusivity, Airbnb enables more people to explore new destinations and forget meaningful connections across borders. Cons.
Okay, on to the cons. Airbnb has taken off really quickly and has become a huge sensation and global success over the past few years. I was doing some research and I found out that they actually halted all their marketing. I want to say it was in 2016, but it might have been even as recent as 2020. And I thought that that was just really interesting that they were able to do that and still take off the way that they have. They did re put into place their marketing practices, as we've all seen their ads on TV and whatnot. But with this company taking off and the rent a room, rent a house for the night business taking off, it's definitely had an impact. For starters, like as a company, it's hard to uphold standards and maintain a culture because Airbnb is so dependent on other human beings and lots of them, their hosts, to deliver a quality product or service, a safe and comfortable place to stay the night. I'd never thought about before like how difficult it would be for a company to thrive locally, globally, whatever it may be, when they depend on so many individual people to succeed. And I know companies do this, but normally it's all under one roof or under one, whereas this feels much more disjointed and a little bit kind of like Uber, right? Like you have to trust all your drivers, you have to trust all your hosts. Um, and it's interesting because you have to depend on all of these people who do profit off the business, but they don't make nearly as much as the main puppet masters, CEOs, the people who are pulling the strings. And also you have to deal with different rental laws, legal issues, tax compliance, and all these different local and global areas where you have to learn all the different red tape that you have to go through. And so now we're going to move on to our final company, which is Nike. And Andrea is going to get us started on pros.
Thank you. So, Nike's marketing is really smart. They work with famous athletes and stars to make their brand look good. When people see their favorite athletes wearing Nike, they want to buy Nike stuff too. Nike's ads are also cool and make people excited about their products. They team up with other companies and tell interesting stories to get people interested. Nike is always trying new things and making their shoes and clothes better. People who love sports really like Nike because they always have the latest and best stuff. Nike is known everywhere for making good products. They keep getting better and better and showing everyone why they're the best. Mhm.
I'm going to finish up with the cons of Nike now. Um, the company culture of Nike, as Andre was saying, stems directly from their marketing strategy. Everyone hears Nike and thinks just do it or thinks of these big stars, but what negative implications are hiding within Nike's company culture overall? Well, Nike is no stranger to controversy, and they've had to navigate a few negative press moments, or more than a few, in the past, but they're able to do so with such grace and ease because of how large of a company they are and how many people they have on their side and how much money they have behind all of these platforms. They've swept sexual harassment problems under the rug. They've been on under hot water for using illegal child labor or sweatshops where labor conditions are horrific and children as young as 16 are legally being allowed to work in these places, but there's evidence that children younger than this are employed in pretty much all of these factories. These things make you question the values of a company, and it makes you wonder about the company's culture and who is allowing these ethically wrong things to happen solely to gain a profit. Nike feels like a company that cares more about image than their employees or their company practices, but that just may be me being slightly biased after reading all of these horrible things and wanting to side against them while I'm sitting looking at the 20 pairs of Nikes I have sitting in my shoe stand. So to conclude, this was just a super interesting bit of research to conduct. So thank you for listening to Andrea and I unpack the pros and cons of these different businesses and their company culture and marketing strategies. We know we did not hit on all of the points, but as you can see, there are serious ethical and moral considerations to put in place when you are a consumer. It is important to remember the impact that you have on our global community as a consumer, and it is important to understand the downfalls and the hidden skeletons in some of these companies' closets. And now, that's all from us.
Thank you. Woo! So how does
Yeah.